Welcome everyone. This is my third video for MobX series, and this is in continuation of the to-do list application which we created in our previous video. Just to recap, we created a small component, to-do list component. We created it using use state methods, and we had add to and clear to-do methods. And to show you how it works, it is supposed to take to-do item, and when you click on submit, it's going to add that item over here. And if we want to clear them out, we can clear them by clicking on clear button. So in our previous video, we also explained that we can have this same functionality imported from a JavaScript class and used in the to-do component. So here in this video, we are going to show you how we can do that. Here I have already created a JavaScript class, and I'm just creating a class file, and we're going to create an instance of that class, and we're going to export that. And inside the class, we are going to declare an array. It's an empty array. And we're going to create add to do method here. It will return the to-do list. So before we jump in creating the method, we're going to first import this in our landing page. So we'll go to the landing page. We're going to import it. And we're going to pass it as a props to our to-do main component. And then we're going to use that props in our to-do component. Likewise. Now here, back again to our class, we are going to create an object which will hold an ID and the text to do text item. The ID will be randomly generalized. It will have text length of 4, and this add to do will take a parameter of input text, and we will pass it on to this. Now this object, we're going to add this object to the array. So push this dot array dot push. So the our method is created. Now we're going to use this method in our to do application. So here we are already using this array, which is not required. For the time being, we are going to comment it out, and we are going to use the to do props that are being sent and access that add method. And we're going to pass the input value inside that method. So what it is going to do is that it is accessing that method through this props, to do props in this method, add to do method, and it is passing the value which we are getting in the input text field. And that method is coming over here, and it is getting assigned to this object key value. and this object is getting added to the array. Now, if we want to use this and if we want to check if it is rendering properly, what we're going to do is that we're going to use that to do array which is holding the present value now. We're going to map that, which we'll be getting from the to do props. From to do props, we're getting the to do array, and then we're mapping through it. And when we're mapping through it, it is going through each element, and each element would have a key which is to do text, and we are going to use that over here. And here also, instead of index, we can give element dot id. So let's check if this is working or not. Came with one warning. To array is assigned a value but never used. Because we are not using this array anymore, we're going to comment it. And we are going to comment this as well. And we're going to test it. So we can see, yes, it's breaking because we have not changed the name properly. So the add to do method here, D is in small letter. As we can see, it is defined in the class file to do. So let's test it again. If it's working fine now, you're able to add the to do item. So now we are left with uh, now we are left with adding the clear to do item. So for that, we are going to use this clear to do method there in the class. And here we are going to reinitialize this array blank, and let's see if this works. So we're going to call this prop, and we're going to call this method clear to do. Hope this time it is, yeah, spelling is correct. And let's save all and check it. Now we are adding one by one item, and when we are trying to clear it, it's not clearing. But if we add something, now it is getting cleared. So why this is happening? So what is happening over here is that when we are clicking on the clear button, it's triggering the clear to do method, and this clear to do method, it's in turn calling the clear to do method of the JavaScript class file, and there it is going to reinitialize the to do array to blank array. However, it is reinitializing that, but it is not updating the state, and it is not doing or re-rendering the page. So in this case, what we can do is that we can make use of our MobX feature. So what is MobX? MobX is actually updating the state. It's observing the state change, and if there is any state change, it is updating the state. So we will discuss about that in details. As of now, we are going to start installing the MobX first. So let's clear this thing and let's npm I MobX and MobX React. Let's install this. Well, it has been installed now and we have started our project. Now we are going to create a constructor here. Beside that, we're going to call the make observable method of the MobX, which will be having the first parameter as this, and second will be an object. Before we start with an object, we'll import the same method. X. And in this object, we are going to use this to-do array as an observer. And we are going to use the action item as the add to do method. So this is the make observable from the MobX. Now we are going to implement that in our to-do application. And to do that, we are going to use the observer method again from the MobX React. We are going to wrap this entire uh, component inside that observer method. So here we'll give observer in the bracket. We are going to wrap this entire method, and we're going to remove this state variables. These are not necessary now. Now we're getting an error here, which is that observer imported observer was not found in MobX. So clearly we made a mistake over here. Is that we created observer here as an inside the make observable. It should not be observer. It would be observable. Great. And we're going to remove this observer from there, and it's working. Let's check from to do component. It's also okay. Now we are going to test it. And if here we can see the clear button is working now. So what it is doing is that when we are adding any item from to do list application, it is adding up, it is changing the state, and the MobX observer, as it has a method make observable, taking this current instance and checking to do array as an observable, and checking this action add action as an action item. And in to do component, the higher order component, the observer actually is observing this component for any state change. So if there is any state change, anything changing, it is updating a state over here. So ideally we should also have the clear to do, have the same declaration in the constructor as for the add to do, and it would work the same way. So this is how we are implementing the MobX for the store operation. So when we are having a store or JavaScript class instance, we can use the MobX to observe for any state change and update the state on the components. So we'll discuss about this in next video in details regarding the architecture of the MobX.